Hey everybody, it is Wednesday, May 30th. Welcome to episode 9 of Blisspoint, a podcast and webisode. It is a podcast and website serving up music discussion, news, show and album reviews, and more. Guys, we have a special guest. We have a baby boy who's about to embark on the most adult thing he's ever going to do. It's his bachelor party tomorrow. Everybody, hey, say hi to Matt Rohr.
I'm a baby boy.
It's baby boy.
Hi.
My name is
doing a
Jordan
bachelor party
Kaufman.
with a baby boy.
Hey, we are doing. He's not actually that much of a baby boy. My name is
older
Jordan
than you.
Kaufman.
His
and
coding
I'm
abilities far exceed
I'm
that of a
joined
baby.
by my lovely co-host Billy Gatewood.
Hello.
And Paul Kolb.
Hey,
And Matt Rohr. Say hi.
Hi, I'm Matt Rohr.
Tell us one interesting thing about yourself.
I'm a baby boy.
we covered that.
We already. Do you have anything else?
Shit. No, that's it.
That's it? Okay, cool. Moving into news. So first up, in the long line of idiot people doing dumb things, Amir Van from Rockhampton, who it was flying high off of last year's success, released 3 albums last year. Really good stuff, too. Amir Van in the group was accused of sexual assault and doing some pretty shitty things to a lady in his life, and the group found out about it. Apparently he lied about it, which is not good.
That never happens.
No, right? People lie on the internet. Who knew? And he was kicked out of the band or group, whatever you want to call them, and the rest of their tours canceled. So they had an album on the way. Their de facto leader, Kevin Abstract, said that the single may still be coming out. They're still kind of trying to process that their best friend, or one of their best friends, did some ugly shit. So it'll be interesting to see where their kind of career trajectory goes, because they were the hottest thing last year, like hands down. So we'll see. I don't know. And next up, Spotify is a wonderful music service. Somebody tell me about Spotify. What do they do? You guys really filled some air for me. That was nice. Good job.
I told you we don't like to help.
Spotify recently removed. Is anyone else going to talk?
If I helped you out, I'd have to help Billy out.
That's true.
And I'm not prepared for that.
I'm glad you're just staying consistent.
I mean,
that's all I
the
really
people
care
know
about.
what Spotify is.
Sure.
They check out
is true.
the playlists every week. They're well informed.
This is
Our
true.
listeners are well informed, and I want you to acknowledge that.
They might be
hope
missing
so.
that someone is missing from the playlist, though.
Hey, nice segue.
Like
Look
someone
at
who didn't
this
want to
guy.
participate?
Look at
I'm a
this
damn
guy.
professional.
Look at this guy. So Spotify recently removed R. Kelly and XXX Tentacion from their sponsored playlists, and the Streisand effect happened for R. Kelly. So the more news that was talked about, the more people actually ended up listening to R. Kelly on Spotify. So his stream numbers went up, which is interesting if you want to talk about society and how that impacts people. But they are now putting XXX Tentacion back on playlists. They're leaving R. Kelly off. And this is such a complicated thing because it sets such a dangerous precedent, and one that Spotify is clearly not willing to commit to. Because as we can talk about in 30 seconds, they are not willing to put their bottom line at risk. They are always going to want more money.
Right.
So to take away artists that are going to give them money is ridiculous.
And it's not like this is something you could ever enforce.
No.
What's who's deciding who the shitty people are that should be pulled?
Right, exactly. And as much as it seems like in the court of public opinion and in nearly a court of law, R. Kelly and XXX Tentacion have only been accused of things, right? So who's Spotify to say that they can pick and choose who gets cut from the team this week, And one of the tweets that somebody posted was a long list of artists that have also affected other people negatively. So good job, Paul. It was a really nice can open. I love it.
Beer definitely
Big fan. But yeah, Kendrick Lamar actually called Spotify CEO because that's probably a number he has on his cell phone, right? And threatened to pull his music from the service, which they were obviously no, we'll walk it back. Don't worry. So it's fucking bitch move all around.
the House of Cards is still on Netflix.
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
No one
so they didn't
does
pull that
this.
permanently? I thought that was
They canceled the series, but they didn't pull the existing episodes. Like,
You want
that's
them to
different.
give up money?
Yeah, no. Like it's
Same
like
thing with Arrested
if someone
Development.
is offended by something someone did, like it's up. Don't listen to their music. Like the company doesn't have to
Vote with your
pull-
money, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know.
it's not their job to censor what's on their marketplace.
It is
the music itself is not like hate speech or anything.
Right. It's I don't know. It's a weird time that we live in. And we'll see if they go ahead and make other dumb decisions. And continuing with dumb decisions, let's get into what we've been listening to. That encompasses the best, worst, good, noteworthy, mediocre, important, inconsequential, sometimes album-related shows, singles, and new releases of the week. And the dumb thing that I'm talking about isn't necessarily what we've been listening to. It's Jack White and his goddamn cell phone put away implementation.
This is the only thing I want to hear about the show.
So,
I think dumb is a stretch. I don't know.
okay, let me put it this
Did he
way.
confiscate him?
Kind of. So, I like the idea of it. I really liked going to a show where everyone was present. Nobody, not some fucking idiot wasn't hands up in the air recording every fucking song like he's going to listen to them when he gets home. Taking pictures, all
On
that
a shitty
shit.
speaker.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody was doing that. It was actually kind of cool. If anything, it felt like the audience was quieter, which was weird.
I would actually argue, like, taking the phone away from a dumbass isn't going to make the dumbass stop doing things at a concert that are annoying.
And
There
what
were
if
still
he-
people with their hands up and like there were people talking during the whole show.
People enjoying the show?
Yeah. I mean, you're never going to stop someone from talking during a show.
I've never been in a concert and been like, oh, these cell phones, this is the worst.
I mean,
Like,
I'm that way
I
all
don't
the
know.
time, but I'm shorter than you.
Billy
so-
loves
I
when
don't know,
people
I
talk to him
guess
at
I
a
might-
show.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah, I didn't think that the crowd seemed any more engaged than normal.
yeah.
I don't know.
It's true. I mean, there was plenty of drunk people not giving a shit about the show.
It was also very poorly implemented. The bag was too big.
Yeah, the
Like,
bag was gigantic. So they give you this like little like cloth sleeve sized to your phone, and then at the top it's just like it looks like an envelope, but doesn't fold over. It clasps, and there's like a magnetic thing that goes together.
It's like if you like work in retail, the little like anti-theft claps that
Right,
are magnet
exactly.
release. It's that, but you
Yeah.
put your cell phone in it.
So Matt didn't wear the pants to hold them.
Yeah, so you
he
still
just
had your
sticking
phone
out
on
of
you
his
the whole
pocket.
time.
Yeah, I had to
Like-
put it in my back pocket, and it was just stuck out of the back of my
and
back
there's
pocket.
plenty of like girls that don't have large enough
Right,
pockets
exactly.
that just had to carry them all night.
It was probably a good, I don't know, like I'm not good at measurement. It was big.
Also, tell you something, gentlemen. Jack White doesn't even care about his own convenience.
No, he does not. He
He
definitely
thinks
does
that
not.
if he tiptoes and dances around music stands and shit,
Yeah.
it's gonna come across in a inspired performance.
And-
You think he's gonna care about what's good for you?
No. The thing that sours the whole thing for me though is when we found out that he was recording. So he recorded and
Wow.
filmed the whole thing. So it was he wants to sell a DVD of the performance, and most likely, I'm assuming, and to him, seeing cell phones in the crowd of his DVD or whatever the fuck he's doing is worse than inviting that stuff, right? So I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, to me, that almost makes it more justifiable.
I
I was
guess
going to
so.
say that's a better excuse in my opinion because, I mean, I get that it's annoying when somebody's on Facebook Live the entire time recording an
Fucking
entire
awful.
set
Yes.
or whatever, but at the same time, in like the social media technology age that we're in, going to shows is kind of about the experience and
Right.
sharing it with people, and not always can that person you want to share it with be there with you. So it's not a bad thing to like clip a video here and there. And, like,
Yeah, that's fine.
you know, I mean.
I don't know.
I would imagine it's going to be available for sale. They could
Well,
spend
there
their
we go.
hard-earned dollars on it.
I almost would respect it more if he was just like, yeah, there's going to be a concert recording. Like, this is the reason I don't want it.
Right.
But he has he started this company. He's the initial investor of this company.
Oh, I didn't
And
realize that
all-
was
he
his
has this
company.
It's this whole thing about protecting the like
Sanctity
the
of
sanctity
music.
of live music and making sure people are there. Just this whole big fluffy,
Just like
So-
that new
reasoning.
album, Revived Rock and Roll.
So,
They did a
so
really
these
good job.
bags you described, this is like a business he's backing that
Yes.
will
Yes,
provide
that he
the
founded.
service for other shows.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And
I'll fact check myself.
the other thing that we actually was kind of a cool side effect was that the whole thing kind of went by quicker. Like, in a bad and good way.
Is that a good thing?
Well, let me explain why it's a
Well,
good
how
thing.
much of the new album did they play?
Because
Right.
Then
we got
we'll
there
know.
a half hour early, and it went by like that. Like, it was super quick. I didn't have to look at my phone to check the time every 2 seconds.
It was just him, right?
No, it was an
there
opener.
was an opener?
So I should have said like 10 minutes ago. Matt and I saw Jack White at the Anthem, and opener was Lily Mae. It's a Nashville country artist, and she fucking ripped, man.
Yeah.
She was really, really good. She plays fiddle. She has 2 guitarists, an acoustic guitarist, an electric guitarist, a bass guitarist, and a drummer. And they killed it. Like, her voice is that just like real, not overly twangy, but she's got that classic Nashville country sound. Guitarists were ripping all over the place. Both of them took solos all night.
Nice.
Bass and drums just locked, and the drummer was insane. Played like towards the end, they played like it sounded like The Devil Went Down to Georgia at first, but it was just an instrumental track where they all just kind of traded off. And
Super fast.
The drummer was like moving his hand to hit the cymbal for probably 3 minutes.
Wow.
And the tempo was like super, super quick.
Yeah.
So they were really good. And then Jack White came out, and not that it was bad. I really liked it a lot. We both did. The only qualm that we had was the set list was not did not meet our needs.
Okay.
And what we would want from a Jack White show.
And that's even with, I don't think he played a ton of the new album. Like,
Really?
No, he played like maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he played the best ones, to be fair. It is a tour in service of that album, so it makes sense that he's going to play that stuff. But
I also think I enjoyed it a little more live than I did in the album, because like when you're sitting there and listening to the album and it's all tracks from that back to back to back, and they all sound so different and weird, and
Right.
like it just they like, you expect that in a concert. He's going to be playing stuff from tons of different albums, so
Yeah.
it didn't come off as jarring where the songs are jumping back and forth in terms of style.
All solo stuff, or did he cover stuff from White Stripes?
everything.
Okay, he did.
Not everything.
Sorry.
Uh-oh.
The most disappointing part, at least for us, he didn't play any Raconteurs.
Oh, really?
Yep. He
Is
played,
it
But he
normal
also
for
didn't
him to
play
do
Dead Weather,
so?
but
no, he did.
didn't play-
He played one Dead Weather song.
okay, when he,
He
played
played
the drums,
the Buffalo
right.
song. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, he didn't play any Raconteurs. He played a handful of White Stripes. Played mostly solo stuff. And surprisingly enough, he was the only guitarist. There was no rhythm guitarist,
Oh,
which
interesting.
it worked.
The setup for the stage too was weird, but also
Yes.
not unexpected with Jack White. So it's Jack White right in the middle with like 17 microphones,
A shit ton of space around him too.
and his guitar, and his like 30 guitars in an arc around him because
Nice.
he has so many. And the entire the bass player, the 2 keyboard players, and the drummer are all way on the edges of the backstage, like not hidden, but like may as well have been. It was
Yeah.
really
The
weird.
drummer
Like, it
was
was very
hard
clearly like, hey,
left.
look at me, this is
Right,
my
right.
show. Like,
It was weird.
That's kind of, yeah.
But he had like cool like turning gigantic screens and lots of lights and everything. So very high production show. It was good. It was very good. I would see him again with the hope that he would play more Raconteurs, I guess.
we were driving back at one point last night, and like was talking, and every 5 minutes we'd just be like, "Oh shit, he didn't play Lazaretto."
Yeah, he didn't play.
I was
okay,
going to ask if he did anything off Blunderbuss.
the key slight that he had last night in the set list. So he's selling Icky Trump bumper stickers and shirts referencing the song Icky Thump, which is one of their most famous songs. Didn't play Icky Thump.
Really?
Did not play Icky
No Blue
Thump.
Orchid.
He's a son of a bitch.
What about the hardest button
it's
to
an
button?
easy
How
win.
long did he play for?
About an hour and a half.
I don't know my phone, so I wasn't able to time it.
Yeah, we got out. We were out of the venue by 11ish, maybe
That
a
seems
little
short
bit
to
before.
me.
You have a
that.
Does that
sundial
seem
on your
short?
wrist?
I was expecting at least an hour and a half.
I would expect 2 hours from Jack White. I don't know if that's
He played a
unreasonable,
really
but-
long encore. I guess, and more like a break.
Oh, the intro was also really cute. They had the screen behind the stage, and after the opener's finished, the screen comes up and it's like a fake recording studio with one of those, like in Lost, the flipping clock thing, and it was like 10 minutes and it was
That's
counting
really
down, and like Jack White would like pop in and like look around at the crowd or like fiddle with knobs. And at one point he walks up to it and he like it's on like 8 minutes and he walks over and he flips it down to 3 minutes and everybody starts cheering.
Wow.
He walks back and then he walks back out and he flips it back up to 7.
Oh my
like,
god.
So people just losing their goddamn minds. So he kept like touching it and like it would go down and people would be like, ah! And then he'd like move it back up to like 8. And then he left it at like 5.
What a showman.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
I don't want to get too far out in the weeds on this, but I wish that he had sort of a year-to-year schedule similar to Andy Hall, where he would just, this summer we're taking out Raconteurs, and he kind of rotated that way through his different projects.
Absolutely. Yeah, I still don't know. I haven't done a lot of research, but I still am not sure why he doesn't do Raconteurs anymore, because it's been the longest since he's done that. Well, maybe White Stripes, but anyway. Billy, you saw a show.
Yeah.
In the greatest city in the world. I hate myself for saying that.
Yeah, that's weird.
In New York City.
That's weird. Maggie and I went to a show at Knitting Factory in Brooklyn and saw Starcadian and Robert Parker.
Let me guess. Hold on.
Yeah, you got it.
80s synth pop.
Yes, it was. But...
Wait, are you into that sort of thing?
Jordan's cheering.
No, I don't like that bit. You
So
can
how was
tell
it?
by the name Starcadian.
Yeah, shut up.
It was fine. I
really selling it.
No, I know. Well, so I was hyped for the show. I don't drive to New York just to see any show.
Did you you drove to New York to see
I
this
drove
show?
to New York. I left at noon on Friday for an 8 o'clock show in New York City. And made it there at like 5:30 and still had time to pregame. And,
Sure. Had some
And
stuff to
here's
do.
the thing. So there's a DJ opener who I didn't care to see, and I was like, whatever, the show starts. Doors are at 7, show's at 8. Assuming DJ opener Starcadian goes on second, we've got till at least 8:30, 8:45 to get in there and catch Starcadian.
Sure.
So we're at the bar next door just having a couple drinks, and we walk over at 8:25, walk in, see the set list, says Starcadian goes on at 8:45. I'm like, perfect. We're going to walk in. We got time to get a drink.
Sure.
Chill. Walk in, Starcadian's playing. And
I'm
I don't
sorry,
know
what?
how much I've missed, when he started, how long he's going to go, what the set times are. No
That's
idea.
weird.
I was pissed.
I've never seen a venue like switch it up that much.
By at least 20 minutes.
That's nuts.
For a show that has that kind of vibe, it's usually later in the night anyways.
Sure.
So having it start at 8 was already kind of weird that it was starting so early. So it was off to a bad start, and he's playing like my favorite song when I walk in.
Nice.
So he's
So you didn't miss
he's like halfway through that. And I'm like, all right, what else has he played? What else
Fuck
have I
this.
missed?
I'm leaving.
So like the first 3 songs I hear are all great tracks that are kind of newer, ones I really like, kind of more of that 80s inspired stuff that I really like. And then his set just and he's playing live, so it's not like a DJ set. He's playing with all the he's got the synth keyboard, he's got this weird electronic pad that he's playing with, and he's doing live vocals and stuff like that.
Cool.
It was super cool. First 3 songs were super good, and then he drops into this like kind of like hard hitting electronica that I wasn't super into. It must have been like some old stuff that I didn't really recognize.
Some like rave ass shit.
Just like really hard hitting like 80s synth,
okay.
kind of like faster tempo. Like
I'm
Robert
not into
Parker
that.
does some of that kind of stuff, so I was like, maybe he's appeasing to the crowd. That
Was
he
it
thinks
a Robert
there.
Parker show?
Robert Parker was headlining, but
Oh,
I mainly
okay,
went for Starcadian. And so it just got really weird there for like 30, 40 minutes. And people were into it, but I just was like, I was coming here to see some of his newer stuff, some of the more like melodic vocal stuff.
Yeah.
And his slower stuff is really the stuff that I find that he's best at.
God.
And he didn't play any of the slow songs that I
Oh,
like.
boy.
Even his most popular song, which is a slow song, he like sped up and did like a live, like not the album version.
He's
but
got
did,
gotta
like,
get
a
the
live-
crowd going.
the
yeah,
fans,
and it was so I don't know if he was just like I said
That
trying
sucks.
to appeal to what he thought the
Right.
crowd was gonna be into. So I mean, it was cool. I was glad to see the few songs that I did see that I really like. Robert Parker was better than I expected. He's a very popular, I want to say Swedish, 80s inspired electronic.
Sure.
Live, he does the same thing with the live mixing or whatever. And people are really into it. It didn't sell out or anything, so there's the venue holds like
There's like 10
300
people
people, and there's maybe 200 people there.
Damn. Okay. So you room to breathe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
nice.
There's plenty of room to breathe. Plenty of. I mean, there's no line to get beer or anything. So
Okay,
it was,
cool.
I mean, that was nice.
I
But
get down with that.
yeah, I mean, the show was over by like 10:30 or 11.
That's weird.
On a Friday
Wow.
night,
That's weird.
and it was weird. We barely had time to get a drink before the show started. So I don't
That
know.
sucks.
It left a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth.
Sure.
Apparently, the show had already started.
Yeah, right, exactly. Who knew? So I'm
Well, that
hoping to
sucks.
see Starcadian again at some point, and maybe a better venue.
Is Manic Factory big?
No, it's
Okay.
300 capacity.
It
Sound
like,
isn't great.
is that like U-Haul size?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, just opposite. Like U-Haul is long, this is wide.
Okay.
And they have like a bar behind like some glass that's like soundproof, so you can like drink at the bar, but I don't think you can hear anything because when we
Sure.
walked in,
Why would you want to do that at a
that's
show?
weird.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go drink at my favorite bar, the Knitting
because you
Factory.
don't have to pay to get into the bar, which is kind of weird.
But they're just going out of their way. Like,
But like
you will
just,
not
like,
hear
it was-
anything.
But they want to like give you a teaser, like look
Yeah,
how much
like,
fun they're having
exactly.
over there.
So spend the $15 to get through that glass
That's fucking
and enjoy it for
weird.
yourself.
Wow.
That's weird.
Yeah, because we walked in and that's the thing. I saw the set times and I was like, oh sweet. We were in the building and then we didn't. It wasn't until we walked through the actual doors to the bar that I was like, oh, he's on right now. So, yeah.
Well, it happens to the best of us.
At least I got
okay.
to keep my phone on me.
Yeah, there you go. That's very true. It was a problem. All right, let's get into some singles. This new Disclosure track is awesome.
So good.
Very, very impressed. Their last album, Caracol, came out like 3 years ago, and it was not good.
So that one kind of bored you a little bit.
Yeah, it was. So their first album, I don't even remember what it's called. Settle.
Settle.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah. Was like innovative, like redefined what was going on in electronic music, at least as far as I remember. And then to hear them like drop this kind of dud like 2 years later.
This is my problem with all my favorite like electronic and like disco house artists is they drop these first albums that are crazy good, but then they get crazy hype, and
Sure.
these follow-up albums they sell out to get like good features that just don't match and they don't blend in, and they've got a little bit more record money behind it, and they
Right.
always fall flat. Classics did the exact same thing.
They just got too much money. That's what I
It's
think. That's what it
annoying.
is.
But
This new track,
This
it's
new
really
track
really good.
is a nice rebound.
It's featuring forget her name, Miss Diawara. I forget her first name, but excellent like disco house with like this African. You say African flavor, Paul? It was,
Me, yeah.
Yeah, it was perfect.
oh yeah, the sample's great.
yeah,
Well,
it's-
it's not even a sample, but
Yeah,
the vocal
that's
feature
really
is
good.
great.
Really good.
I think it was a good mashing of styles, and even aesthetically, the album art,
Yeah.
everything is good.
Yeah, it's going to be a summer hit for sure. This next track, Matt, you liked quite a bit. So I heard.
Yeah, new Nine Inch Nails, Gotta Break Down the Door. Mm-hmm.
Do you like their old stuff?
Kind of.
Kind
I've
of.
never been a huge Nine Inch Nails song, but I've like heard a lot of it.
I like their old stuff quite a bit.
So-
I recently listened to it.
So
it's
you
good.
weren't a Nine Inch Nails fan and you like this new track?
Yeah.
That's weird to me.
So
No, really, because I don't like this new track.
I mean,
Half the appeal is it's something different.
We also-
it's fair.
so it's really like weird and like it kind of all over the place, but it like I feel like it follows, which is weird saying as someone who's not a Nine Inch Nails fan. It feels like an old Nine Inch Nails song, and like the progression of the song, like it repeats itself a ton, and then like goes into a weird quiet breakdown and gets all ambient, and then goes right back into it, and like kind of builds up a little bit. There's awesome sax.
Yes.
I'm always down for some
Yes.
sax.
Dude, I do
as
love
on
some
all
sax.
Nine Inch
Yes.
Nails records.
Yeah,
It
you know,
is.
that classic 9-inch sax.
It is really. I'm super impressed, if only because they've changed up their sound so much.
The vocals are so different from 9-inch Nails.
Like this sounds like a cutting room floor like B-side of David Bowie's Black Star from a couple years ago.
Sounds
the
like a
vocals-
caricature of David Bowie. Like
Yeah.
a Seth MacFarlane on Family Guy David Bowie.
Absolutely. But yeah,
But in a good way, not in a bad way.
it is
But
super
so
weird.
accurate.
I'm very excited to see what they do next. They have a new album that comes out June 22nd, I believe. It's gonna be good. Tyler, the Creator. 4:35. What do y'all think?
It's a really good Lucy.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah, it is. Nice and short.
He said that this was interesting, especially concerning what you brought up earlier, Paul. He was made it a big point to say, hey, this is not what my future music's going to sound like. But I am curious now that he has more money and how well Flower Boy turned out. I'm curious to see his trajectory from here.
Wasn't this from the recording of Flower Boy? Or
possibly. I don't know.
Did
it say that? Okay.
It's really good, though.
It is.
It seemed like we were all pretty big fans of the last single we covered from him.
So good.
Or no, was he featured on somebody else's?
Probably both. There was another Lucy a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, even whatever it was we were talking about, I feel like he's doing a good job of really developing. He seems like he's really coming into his own as an artist.
Yeah.
But the hesitation I feel with that, like I was pointing out earlier, is just, I don't know. I wonder, he's definitely getting, I hate the word marketable, but like, he has more of an appeal now than he did before. So how much of that is something where, how much of that endangers his previous style and a lot of what sets him apart.
Right.
I'm not worried about it, but
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what form it takes.
It is. I'm wondering if he'll ever be like super radio friendly or like a
I don't know.
Like a household name.
It doesn't seem
I
like.
think he hates that too much to ever be that way. So we'll see. All right, so we are split 50-50 on this next track. Paul and I liked it quite a bit. It is Sunwaves. I believe that's Sunwaves. SZUN. Track is Constellation. It's a very psychedelic, weird, abstract free jazz track. And I loved it.
Billy Matt, I'm going to need you to get a little more open-minded, a little more pretentious.
Look, so
I'm gonna need
Put yourself in the right headspace.
I'm gonna need you to hit this real quick, and then tell me how you feel about it.
It's not that great.
Shut up.
It's not that great.
fucking wrong.
It's like, at the very least, it's decent soundtrack music that needs audio and visuals to go along with it.
It does sound like an indie film score.
So I will give both of you that it is noodly. At its worst, it is undirected. It does not have a clear direction of where it's going to go, but I think that's inherent to the genre, and I think it is purposely cinematic, and I think that's very cool.
I mean, I love cinematic style music,
Just only if it has 80s synths in it.
well, obviously.
I also feel like it has there's the jazz part of it, which is okay. There's parts of it that are I get oh, okay, that's okay.
Sure.
But when it all fits together, it's just
I love it.
it's
could
trying
see
to
how-
do too much, and
It's trying to be too cool and too experimental.
Because I was
shut the
expecting you to
fuck
say
up.
it's not doing enough. It's too repetitive. It's a little...
yeah, the horns coming in and all the saxes and saxes. Hey,
Yeah. I mean,
It
talking
builds in
about
a way that keeps it interesting, but I can see why you
I don't
don't
think it does at all. I think it just gets louder.
Yeah, that's literally all it does is get
it
louder.
is a vibe out track. It's not
Yes.
like something that's necessarily going to hold your attention.
I like it quite a bit, so fuck both of you.
Hey, it's divisive. It's
is.
worth checking out in my book.
Yes, definitely. This next track, Only Can Get Better, featuring Daniel Merriweather. This is by Silk City, which allegedly is Mark Ronson and Diplo. Mark Ronson is the hotshot producer, did Put Your Pinky Rings Up to the Moon. I forget the song name.
24 Karat Magic.
24 Karat Magic. No, he did
No,
not
he
do that
didn't
one.
do that
No.
one. It was, what's it called?
Shit. Uptown Funk. Fuck.
yeah.
How did I forget that? So yeah, he's known for that. Diplo's known for every tropical, weird funk disco track in the last, couple years. What'd you guys think?
I know I said I wasn't crazy about the vocals. The hook has been stuck in my head this entire recording.
It is. Those I didn't think they were that the beginning I think was kind of annoying. It's like this weird effects laden kind of shouty vocals. But I think when it hits a verse it's actually not too bad.
This is not what I expected at all.
No.
Diplo being known for his either reggaeton and whatever house music or his more EDM style house music. This is just pure funk house, and which maybe is a reflection of Mark Ronson being part of it.
Sure.
but it is like just quintessential funk house. It's solid production. It hooks. It was
especially
really,
when
really
like the
good.
groove kicks in,
which I'm surprised that I
nice.
liked it as much as I do.
I was also surprised because I figured with Ronson being attached to it, it would have this like super like plastic veneer to it.
Yeah.
But it actually kind of sounds like it has some life to it. Like a little bit of fuzzy to it. I mean, it's still very clean.
And it's not like pop disco or pop funk. It's like straight up just funk house.
Yes.
There's no sort of pop to it.
Absolutely. So yeah, definitely check that out. The next one, I think everybody loved here quite a bit. I'm glad I found this. So the track is called El Pastor. It's by a band called Delta Sleep. It's math rock, kind of groove rock band. What do y'all think?
Makes me want a taco. God, I'm hungry.
I'm 100% behind this.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, Al Pastor. That's racist, Billy.
Man.
Sorry.
It's so good. Like, there's so much going on with the drums and the bass and it like super complicated guitar riff, but like it doesn't come off as just like kind of wanky.
Noise.
Look how good we are at these instruments. Like,
There's a groove to it.
super tight groove
It's-
throughout
yeah.
it. Like the way it like cuts and like the vocals fit in really well with that.
And then they'll do that. The way the voicings are, there's that weird little dissonance in the high end. I really like it.
Yeah, it's really well produced for them.
Yeah.
They're,
It's a cool,
they're pretty
cool
small
production.
band. Yeah,
It's a cool production. It's-
absolutely. It feels claustrophobic, but in
Uh-huh.
a good way.
Yeah, yeah.
I really liked how like cacophonous it was. It was cool. And this last track, Manic Focus, is the main artist. Song's called Stochastic Resonance, featuring Statik. But the reason why I picked this is because it's an Emancipator remix, and Emancipator is this really cool bonobo like got that like down tempo, like very natural feel to his music. It is very electronic, but he incorporates a lot of natural instrumentation.
Yeah, and hip-hop vibes
This
to
is
it.
no different. Like the bass on this thing is nuts. Like I'm surprised you didn't like this at first.
I don't tend to listen to a lot of like slow hip hop beats,
Sure.
like the Spotify like chill study beats playlist.
Okay, yeah.
But I also think it may have been like the headphones I listened to this on, because when we listened to this track again, I heard the bass way more than I did before. So I appreciated it a lot more the second time listening.
The cool thing about Emancipator too is you said the live instrumentation, and that's something that he really incorporates live. I mean, it's not
I would
something
love to
that's
see him
made
live.
on a computer or anything
Yeah.
like that. He plays drums live. He plays violin.
That's cool.
He does all these. He plays all these instruments and does all these things live. So what you're hearing is an actual recording of him
Sure.
doing it, probably on top of something he's remixed, but it's not synthetic or anything like
Right,
that. It's-
right. Yeah, it's a great track. Very, very good. So next up, we got new releases. And the first one here was kind of a surprise.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
because I think a week ago, Billy and I were both very excited for this. The album's called Saved. It's by a band called Now Now. And at least for me, I'm curious to see what you think. In the weeks since I've listened to it, I've cooled off on it. I showed my wife it, and she really, really liked it. And I was like super hype. I was like, sweet, like something we can really get into.
Yeah.
I like them. I love the band a lot. But the more I listened to it, the more I kind of found myself just wanting to listen to only the singles.
Yeah.
It was like the best representation of the entire album, and the rest of it just kind of felt samey. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I want to hear what you thought about it.
I mean that I'm gonna pretty much copy exactly what you said, because upon first listen, I fell in love with it. I was excited with the direction they went in. However, I was also kind of conflicted because they didn't fully commit to that direction.
Sure.
Some of the songs still sounded like their old stuff.
Yes.
Some of it sounded just like it was kind of written and they needed album fillers.
Yeah.
But so I would have been a little bit happier if they had fully committed to that new sound, because those are the best tracks on the album.
I think so too. There's I forget the one track that I like just because I love their old stuff.
Right.
But it feels out of place in the
It
track
does,
list,
right, yeah.
for sure.
And so I mean I like the album. It's good.
It's still good.
Spring, summer, drivable music. It's catchy. It's got a. It does fall off, especially like halfway towards the end. Like,
absolutely.
It all kind of ran together.
Yeah,
I feel like.
exactly right.
Like I kind of lost when I was listening to it. I kind of like lost track
You
of it,
lose
and then like
interest after,
looked
like,
up at
5 or
Spotify
6,
and was
yeah.
like, "Oh, this is like 4 songs later."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the funny thing was when we first started texting about it, you hated Holy Water, and I didn't think it was that bad. But it's funny now that whenever I listen to it, when I get to Holy Water, I'm like, is the album over yet?
Yeah,
like,
right.
That's the one that's
the
like,
point where you're like,
fuck, this track is
this is
annoying.
rough to
like,
get through.
I don't know if I want to hear the rest
Yeah,
anymore. Like, it's the lyrics are just so rote.
Yeah,
and
it is
bad.
lyrically pretty poor.
Yeah. Yes, the whole thing is pretty derivative lyrically. But I don't know. I mean, do you guys feel any particular way about it?
I had an arc with this one that was really immediate. Like, it was that pop thing essentially where the first couple listens didn't really do much for me.
Sure.
And then I started to warm to it.
Yeah.
There was enough of her voice and the way they produced it. Really liked it. Mm-hmm. But then after a while I just got bored again. It's just the rise and the fall was very swift.
Funny anecdote. We were driving to the beach on Saturday. So we were in New York, in Brooklyn. We were driving to Jacob Riis Beach in Queens. And I had Maggie, my sister's roommate, in the car. And then when there's people in the car, I drive in silence. And I don't know why. Because I want to keep room for conversation.
It's the
I want to be
funniest
social.
thing in the world because when I started driving in the car with you, I was like, Billy loves to listen to music. We'll surely listen to
when
music.
I'm by myself, I blast music.
Nothing.
But when there's people in the car, I play nothing.
I feel like part of it is that you're so nervous that nobody else is going to like
This
what
is
you're
probably
playing.
true.
Yeah. Yep.
But going straight into that
Sorry.
point is my sister's roommate's in the back seat, and she goes, are we going to listen to any music? And I'm like,
Billy immediately has a panic attack.
I immediately had a panic attack.
He's just like, I don't like music.
I'm like, what's good, like driving to the beach music? It's a nice day. It's like kind of cloudy though. What's going to fit the mood?
It's going to make her think I'm cool.
This is exactly what I thought you would go through. Yep.
So I throw on now because I'm like, okay, this might fit the mood. And Shannon, my sister's roommate, who told me to throw on music, is like, wait, is this now? They just put out a new song. Wait, this is a new album. And she goes into the story, and she's like, "Oh, my best friend is really good friends with them." And she's like, "I'm going to text them right now and tell them that like we're listening to their music." And like,
that's cool.
Like this
Holy
random
shit.
story. Like I was like, "Oh, weird.
That's real neat."
I scored. So maybe I'll play music in the car from now on because you never know."
And then you'll hang out with one of us, and we'll
And then you'll
immediately trash whatever the
it,
fuck
and I'll
you're
never
playing.
do it again.
That was an inspiring story of personal development.
Thank you. Thank
You heard it here
That was
first.
fun. That was fun. Favorite tracks?
Oh, favorite tracks, yeah. Like you said, kind of the singles, which kind of sucks. But
Yeah.
the track we talked about,
Story this week.
right? The track we talked about last week, MJ, is still my favorite on the album.
Definitely. Has that Heim feel to it. I kind of wish the rest of the album felt a little more like that.
Right.
But we have enough Heims in the world.
That's the exact
So.
reference that I made when I was
Hey,
talking.
sweet.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yours and Can't Help Myself are probably my favorites.
Okay.
They kind of sound like Isley, maybe Lydia.
You say that a little bit.
Like
Sure.
Heim.
Yep. Absolutely. Mr. Paul.
Went a
What you
different
got?
direction this week, gentlemen. I hadn't really looked into the metal scene in a little while.
Yeah.
When I did, I was pleasantly surprised to hear that At the Gates was back. Mm-hmm. If you're not familiar with them, metal band from Sweden, been around a long, long time. Like I would even say a pioneer in certain regards.
Sure.
If you like metal and you really like kind of the blending of the clean sounds and layers with the heavy tones, I mean, we kind of take it for granted now because we have Gent and we have all these other offshoots that a lot more complex, a little bit more in the guitar sound.
Sure.
That's what I go for, but I don't know. It's worth checking out. It's pretty solid.
I like that it's not overproduced like Gent usually is.
Exactly.
Like it has a lot of life to this recording, which was nice. It was cool.
Yeah, and when I say it's good to see them back, it's just they've done a lot of other projects. They kind of come back together and toured sporadically since 2014. Mm-hmm. So this new one, To Drink from the Night Itself, it's solid. If you like metal, it's worth listening to.
Absolutely.
Only if you like metal, because it's music for literal vampires, as you can tell.
I like the fact that I'm pretty particular about my metal vocalists, and these guys maintain that like brutal screamed style without being like it has so much clarity to it, which I was really impressed with.
It's a fine line because a lot of those bands that do all screaming vocals, you get a little that Cookie Monster sound.
Yes.
And it's kind of gives you the giggles.
Yes.
But that's actually something with me. If it's anything in the vein of metal, I kind of like one of either extremes.
Sure.
If it's going to be heavy, I like screaming vocals. My favorite thing is Pig Destroyer, so I really like just all the way that
the
direction.
guttural, like you can't even understand what they're saying or doing.
Because to me, it's kind of reeling against the hardcore scene.
Sure.
Where there's a lot of things I like about that kind of music, and I know a lot of stuff Billy's into. It's just, for all the kind of melodic nature of that stuff, a lot of time, I just find the vocalists too overproduced.
Sure.
In the clean vocals.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
It's usually because the guy's brought on because he's great at screaming.
Right.
And then he's expected to do this more heartfelt chorus, and it doesn't land for me.
Get that metalcore audience, for sure.
But if you like Entombed, The Haunted, especially The Haunted, because it literally has members from this group in it, it's worth checking out. If you hate metal, don't even give it a second thought.
Favorite tracks?
I think I'm going to go with In Nameless Sleep, The Chasm, and Palace of Lepers is my favorite.
Cool.
Really went old school with the titles on this one.
I know, right?
I fucking love that title. Palace of Lepers is great. Daggers of Black Haze was also one of my favorite titles.
It's the cheesiest.
Yeah, it's real dumb.
It's a good
I don't
track,
know.
though.
Colors of the Beast.
That's
that's
also
never
true.
done
That is
before.
also true. So this album is Trace by Mouse on the Keys. I mainly wanted to include this. In hindsight, I probably should have just thrown it on a Best of April. But I didn't know.
Love the commitment.
Well, I didn't really know that I liked it all the way through. I really did at first. So Mouse on the Keys is this jazz-focused kind of math rock, piano-based. There is a guitarist and there's also a drummer, but the piano is the forefront, which kind of makes them different and kind of sets them apart from their math rock peers. But their album from last year, I forget what it was called, was incredible. Like really hard hitting grooves, really kind of locked in, like that double slip that we talked about earlier. Just all three of them working together in time is amazing. And they made music that is fun to listen to, and interesting without having a lot of vocalists. So this album, they kind of went into a post-rock kind of slower, more ambient direction, had a lot more features on it, a couple of vocalists. There's a guitarist, which is one of my favorite tracks, guitarist from a band called Szun. Track is Time. Really, really good. Excellent guitar solo. And my least favorite part about this album was the tracks with the vocalists on them.
Yeah.
It just felt so out of character for them and didn't really speak to what they're good at. I appreciate that they were trying to do something different. Tracks like Shapeless Man, which has like spoken word vocals. I love Jordan Dreyer from La Dispute. La Dispute's awesome. But he just does this like kind of story for like 5 minutes. It's a lot to kind of take in while, their music's going on in the background. But yeah, I don't know if you guys listened to it a lot or had anything particular to say about it. But I wanted to mention them because I feel like they aren't talked about all that often, or I haven't seen anybody talk about them outside of like math rock circles. So yeah,
I liked the kind of like emo direction they went in, and it was really, really good. But maybe it doesn't work for math rock because then they would go and switch up the key and the timing, and you're like, you just ruined whatever like mood you just set.
That kind of went from like they tried to do like a vocal jazz album almost,
right?
But and added weird like good math rock tracks in between, but it just the dynamics are just so all over the place.
Wasn't cohesive.
Nothing really gels all that well. So yeah, favorite tracks: Time, 120, and Dark Lights, which is a redo of a previous track that they've done, but their version of it is awesome. Related artists are Toe, Light, and Enemies. And now let's get into the best segment of the week, album of the week. All right, I'm gonna switch it up on here.
Ooh, okay.
Because the sheet says Billy's first, but I want to talk about that one last because that is the most fun for this week.
Yeah. We're Washington boys. We're known for our quick line changes.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Go Caps.
I did it softer. You happy?
Yeah, so proud of you. So proud of you. Let's talk about mine first. So the album is Wide Awake by Parquet Courts. And these guys have officially done it. They have made the transition from lo-fi alt-rock weirdos that only music publications like to like higher profile, well-produced like garage music that is not only accessible but also really interesting, has a lot of cool lyrical themes. They include a lot of diverse instrumentation. This band, I'm so proud of them. They've done so well, and I fucking love this album. I can't stop listening to it. Matt, I left it on while I had to go run some errands. I babysat Matt with some Parquet Courts. What'd you think?
I thought it was really good. I guess it was really well produced. Like it was really tight. I like the fact there's a song called Freebird 2.
Yeah, and they introduce it as...
on the previous track.
Yeah, he does like this weird speaking part where he's like, this next song's called Freebird 2, like they're playing live, and then the next song is literally called Freebird 2. So...
I thought it was really interesting. I wasn't familiar with them before this, so I don't have a lot of context for where this has grown from before. Yeah. But I thought it was like really catchy.
Yeah. I could see it being on the radio at this point. At least some of it. Some of it gets a little weirder. But yeah, the Danger Mouse is the producer for the album, which I thought might have been a death knell for the band, considering I love Danger Mouse, and on paper I think him working with other artists is awesome, but I have yet to see something that like transcends just his name, right? So like Portugal the Man came out with an album a few years ago that he produced that I really liked a lot, but kind of stripped away everything that old fans liked about them and kind of made them this like poppier rock band, which was fine. It was catchy. It kind of had his trademark style on it. But these guys really went in and kind of kept to their sound and style and let him kind of mold them a little bit and push them into different directions, which was really good. The bass on this thing is fucking awesome. So many good bass lines all over.
It's funny you bring that up. It's really good. I like every layer of it. I was kind of curious why they hate the lower frequencies on the bass.
I don't know. Am
I the only one who noticed that?
No. It's especially, obviously, in like the more upbeat tracks, it's very hard to pick him out. So I wonder if just on other tracks they decided to have him play higher, like cooler, like more noodlier bass lines to make him stand out.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I'm really happy with it. Yeah. This is the first one of their albums to really catch my attention.
And I know
we covered that single a while back.
Yeah. And they were on Ellen DeGeneres with that single recently, actually. So
that's how you know you
That's
made
perfect.
It.
You know she loves to dance, fellas.
Exactly.
You know she loves to dance.
Exactly. Favorite tracks are Before the Water Gets Too High, Freebird 2, and Total Football, which has a nice shout-out, Fuck Tom Brady, in it, which is great. The related artists are The Hives and King Tuff. Maybe a little Ty Segall in there, too.
Love King
They're
Tuff.
playing at Friday Cheers down in Richmond this summer, too, which is pretty big.
What's Friday
Friday
Cheers?
Cheers is like a Friday night music festival.
That's
it. Nailed it.
You got
Sweet.
it. You
All
got
right,
it.
cool.
I want to say it's on the island or something down in Richmond, and they bring in a bunch of like breweries.
Okay.
We were talking about last year about going.
Cool. Yeah.
They bring
they're
like some
playing?
up and coming artists, and they're playing one night.
When is that? Do you know?
A Friday in June. That's all I know.
Okay. I probably can't go.
Yeah.
But that sounds cool.
Yeah.
I'm very jealous. Paul, let's talk about your album of the week.
Oh, I think this one might surprise people. Oh, the new Courtney Barnett.
Wow.
Yeah, we just spent like 2 months gushing about her new singles.
Well, that's a nice little intro into it, because so the new album's called Tell Me How You Really Feel, and we covered at least 2 of those singles. Mm-hmm. I was really hoping that the album as a whole would have maybe even stronger tracks than those.
Absolutely.
Not the case. The truth is that that Nameless Faceless track that we talked about, the one that really...
So good.
Yeah, really probably the heaviest in terms of social issues. It is by far the strongest track on the album. but that's not a bad thing. I thought most of it was solid. There's a few tracks here or there that didn't quite do it for me.
Yeah, I agree.
But overall, another really good Courtney Barnett album.
Yeah.
And Nameless, Faceless, City Looks Pretty, and Charity stood out to me quite a bit more. She has that vibe about her, and she's kind of in her element when she's a little grungier, doing a little more of the talk singing sort of thing.
Yes, absolutely. You can actually like really hear her accent, which really adds to the tracks, I think.
Yeah. I feel like as long as she's doing her style, it's hard for her to do a bad album.
Yes,
it's just
absolutely.
how much it happens to resonate with you.
Yeah, and I was really happy to see her take a more versatile direction with this one, because I love her last album. Sometimes I sit and think or whatever. But it was very samey, and this one felt way more different. But I'm with you. I don't know that she got there all the way. Or I don't know what it is that maybe she didn't commit fully enough. It just, some of it feels kind of boring, which is not great. So
yeah, it's not the most thrilling, but
yes,
that's not how I'd characterize her sound anyway.
True, that is very true.
But it's funny because the related artists, I would normally use Courtney Barnett to explain who these people are, but Parquet Courts, Kurt Vile was an affiliate, Big Thief. If you like those kind of bands, it's worth checking out.
Absolutely. Definitely worth checking out. So this last one requires an introduction. And honestly, I would be surprised if no one's at least heard about what the hell's going on. We read an article on fucking CNN about this.
Right.
So his next album, Billy, what is it?
My next album is Pusha T, Daytona.
Yes. And there's been some words exchanged,
drama,
some
a little bit of beef,
good old fashioned rap drama. As the kids say, beef. I tried to make that as least awkward as possible. So shut up. So Pusha,
it's better than that New Orleans comment you made the other day.
Shut up. I don't want to hear it. We all tried to forget about that. Thanks for PTSDing me. Anyways, Pusha T released an album last week called Daytona. Had a track on it, Infrared, where he indirectly addresses Drake.
Yeah.
It obviously doesn't call him out by name, because that's what you do.
As indirect as clear imagery is.
Exactly.
Yes. So he did that, and like 2 days later, Drake dropped Duppy Freestyle, which was basically just airing out everything he felt about Pusha T, how his career was dead, and Drake's bringing it back to life, and making fun of his, the thing with me is throughout this beef, which has been going on since like 2002, Drake's main point is that Pusha T never actually sold drugs. He just acts like a drug dealer and raps about what he's seen.
No rapper's ever done that before.
Which, right. The worst thing about that is that whether or not he didn't do it, Drake now looks like an idiot because he's been saying the same thing for like 10 years.
Right.
Yeah, he was in that wheelchair last time when he initially started saying it.
Pretty much. So anyway, Drake did his normal thing. The track I thought was good. I liked Duppy Freestyle quite a bit. It's got a good flow to it, and he's got some really nice bars.
I hate Drake, but it was a decent response.
Matt, how you feel about Drake?
Not a fan.
That's putting it lightly. I'm proud of your restraint right now.
I'm a professional. It's fine.
No, show your
Keeping it together. Fuck Drake. Drake
There
is
we
trash.
go. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. So after that fallout,
I guess I would you'd also add their back and forth for the past decade is slowly gotten more and more personal. He specifically in Duppy Freestyle names drops Pusha T's fiance and his brother.
Yes. I said rap doxing them pretty much. Here's who he's affiliated with. So the next part, Drake kind of joked about sending Good Music, which is the label that Pusha T runs, that Kanye owns, Kanye West. He's joked about sending them an invoice for basically reviving Pusha T's career. And Pusha T was like, fuck it, send it. Like, fucking do this. So he sent a fake invoice that was like for $100,000, like for career reviving and something else, which is hilarious. Fucking great work on OVO.
He went to his legal counsel and just like, hey,
can we
I want you on this
Can we
bit.
send a fake invoice real quick? Some other stuff other people got involved. Nicki defended Drake because of course she does. The ghostwriter, well, I know that's after this next part. So Pusha T responds with, what is it? The story of a D-Don?
D-Don.
Yeah. Which, he fucking murders Drake. Like,
brutal.
Like Drake, I don't know Drake's probably crying in a studio right now.
It's a good burn.
He does not know how to respond.
It's real slick.
He gets into Drake's like son that he's never talked about, that he's trying to hide, and his porn star baby mama, and how
His parents? Like Drake's parents being
about
shitty?
his dad like left him when he was 5, and like how Drake is trying to hide from the world that he has this son and like doesn't want to be with this girl but like has to pay for his son, and like
Basically
whole
telling
bunch
him
of
to
shit.
be a man and take care of your family.
Exactly. Like fucking gets under his skin and just pulls out his organs. Like Pusha T killed it for sure. And like as a dumb little side thing, he talks about Drake's ghostwriter, of course, because who wouldn't? Which came up in a 2015 beef between Drake and Meek Mill, because Meek Mill found out that Drake used ghostwriter Quentin Miller. And Quentin Miller, the ghostwriter in question, actually responded to both of them and was like, please leave me out of this. I'm just trying to make a career. Like, I need some help.
Please. I'm not well known enough to not act professional right now.
Exactly. So,
So I think we may have glossed over one of the best parts about the diss track,
yes.
the name. So Drake's son's name is Adonis.
Yes.
The song is called The Story of a D-Don, and it's rumored that Drake has a shoe line coming out with Adidas that he is naming a D-Don. And that hadn't come out yet.
Oh man.
So the thought process is
Pusha
Pusha T knows about this. So now, like, the first time you Google something, like, you hear about Drake's new shoe line, Adidas,
yes,
you're gonna see this diss track.
And this
what's the
awful
photo
fucking picture of Drake in blackface, like yucking it up for a camera, wearing these awful clothes from some clothing line from 10 years ago or whatever.
I can't think of a worse way for him to have outed what those images are going to be.
Right.
Because it's a really bold concept they're going for this line. I think, as you were explaining, it's all about the blackface and a lot of the images we associate with racism.
Right.
Because the whole thing is we're taking it back for ourselves. That's his rationale. But the problem is, when you get to first come to the audience with that, you have those powerful images and you and your marketing can explain it.
Right.
It's different than somebody just leaking this photo of you in full blackface.
It is not a good look. Like, the picture is awful.
Yeah.
Like, it looks really, really bad. So Drake is probably going to be in some hot water, I think. And is like on the run, probably.
Did we
He's
cover...
Drake.
I mean, he's going to have money forever. He'll be fine.
Yeah, because the other big bone in contention was they touched on the health problems of his producer.
Oh, right. Which was...
I think that was the line for some people.
Right. So I guess this was a couple of years ago. Drake famously made light of Kid Cudi's battle with depression and thoughts of suicide, which everyone was like, nah, dude, that's not cool. Like, do whatever you want with your fucking beef, but leave Kid Cudi out of this. So Pusha T fires back now that he knows that no holds are barred, and has this really ridiculous line about how Drake's main producer, Noah 40 Shabib, has multiple sclerosis, and Drake has him like bent over working at the boards, like his back, he's sick, like it's nuts. It's absolutely
saying
nuts.
He's 40 walking around like he's 80.
Yes, it's fucking ridiculous.
It literally says his days are numbered.
Yeah, and my biggest thing now is I want to know where this goes.
Right?
Drake, there's no way Drake can respond. There's no way. What is it?
I don't
What is he
know.
gonna say?
I don't know.
Pusha T,
He
stop
has to
rapping
respond.
about fake drugs, you idiot! Like, what's he gonna do?
Oh, we haven't heard that one.
Yeah, like, is he gonna find some like dark shit that Pusha T did?
His
Like-
ghostwriter already put out a track, so who's gonna write tracks?
That's true. That's true.
That's the only one that exists.
Drake's, that's what the problem is that Quentin Miller already put out a track, so Drake can't use him, so he's trying to find another one. So anyway, with that in mind, let's talk about fucking Daytona.
Ooh.
Actually, before we talk about Daytona, can we talk about how fucking ridiculous the cover is? Did you hear about this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the cover is of Whitney Houston's bathroom. This is, I think it was a picture taken before she died.
Yes.
It was cleared by the police and everything as being okay.
Right.
Pusha T had an album cover decided like the night before the album released, and Kanye was like, "No, I'm fucking putting this picture on the album." Paid $85,000 to release the photo and use it as the album cover. And
It's so gross.
It's gross, and her estate obviously was like, "This is tasteless. What are you doing?"
Right.
But it's Kanye, so he doesn't give a shit.
Of course.
Which also plays into the album itself.
Right. And
What do you have to say for yourself, Billy? Look what you've done.
this is all my fault.
Yeah, it is. You picked it. We weren't going to talk about it unless you picked it. So
This is true. Man, this album is so good.
It
It
is.
is so good.
it's really good.
It's just a 7-song, 25 minute length
Yep.
album that just hits constantly.
And
it's not in that traditional. One thing I can't really stand about hip hop albums is these interludes and intermissions and the
3-hour, 20-track
right?
albums.
That just like breaks it up.
You know,
It's
like
just-
the minute 30 skit every 5 tracks.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And I can't do that with an album. And this album, it's nonstop. It flows from the first song to the very last
and
song.
it's fucking surgical. Like
Yes.
it is like a knife. Pusha T is in and out. Like
Right.
minimal hooks, pretty much only verses.
It's the
2
essentials.
features.
It's what you
It
need.
is.
Yeah. And I
And
mean,
it couldn't have been a better business decision for both Kanye and Pusha.
Well,
like it's awesome.
and who knew Kanye still had this in him?
right?
Honestly,
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean,
okay, everybody raises, everybody
Yeah,
raises their
yeah.
hand. I get it.
We're
I get
also
it.
Stop making your own
Full
music. Make
Okay.
other people's music.
yeah, we're stands.
But-
That's what are you gonna do?
The production is insane.
Yes.
It is everything good about hip hop production wrapped into 25 minutes.
And it's also, Matt and I were talking about this a little bit. It's so, like, it's very Kanye production, but it also feels very new. Like, it kind of calls back to those 2 singles that he released. It kind of has similar production. And it's him reinventing his production style yet again
And
for this album cycle that he's about to embark
I
on.
almost thought it was the opposite. I was like, this is almost a call to like 90s hip hop, the way the samples and the production
Yes.
is. And I was like, I can't believe that he can do this in 2018 with the kind of history he's had of sampling. I mean, he's always been a legend at it, but
Right.
like after all he's done, to really call back and make something so cohesive sounding that it sounds like the sampling could have been done in the 90s. And I mean, Pusha T on top of it sticks to what he does, which is rap about drug
Drugs.
life. And I mean, that's
Being a
that's-
fucking mafioso.
Yeah, I mean, that's
like-
what he's always done.
It's still real good.
It's
Yes.
right, and that's the thing is, it's still great. It doesn't get old and repetitive.
Right.
It still feels, and granted, I mean, we don't know, but it feels more real than what Drake would rap about. You know, like it feels.
That's the interesting thing is, like, because this, now that everyone's heard this album and knows that his shit still holds fucking water
Right.
because it's incredible, Drake's argument now still sounds like shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, so what if he's fucking fake? It sounds real as shit.
It does,
like,
right.
People still love Rick Ross, and everyone knows that he's not a real fucking gangster. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't fucking matter.
and that's
Jay-Z.
right.
Yeah.
and that's
that
kind of
Netflix special. Like,
yes, exactly.
Yes.
And that kind of calls to like, that's the one questionable thing is, you know, like having Rick Ross as a feature. You know, Pusha T is trying to make this reputation as being as real as he can
Right.
get, and then kind of bringing Rick Ross in for that feature kind of like throws it off for a
Sure.
second. But I still love that feature, which
I
is
do.
weird because I
Yeah.
don't
It's a
like Rick
great
Ross.
feature.
Like, it's,
Yeah.
Really good.
and it's so good. That's actually, I don't know, that's one of my favorite tracks on the album. I don't know why, but it's just so unique.
it is.
Like that piano is so good, and it just like, I don't know, it's so hard hitting for like such a-
Ross's it's just his deep baritone, just
Yes,
like
it
fucking
fits
butter
perfectly
just comes
for
in.
it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's great.
God.
Did you like Kanye's verse?
It's Kanye.
I thought it's very modern Kanye.
Yes.
But I thought it was good.
Yeah.
And dumb.
I wonder when they recorded this and like finished it because it references that song that he dropped just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So
and it also references the hat too.
Yeah, right.
Like the MAGA tweets and all that shit.
If it's anything like Pablo, they recorded it last night.
Right, exactly. No, right. And it's like, how is it so? It feels like it's a year's worth of like production and being in the studio, but the verses sound like they were done last night.
I would love a documentary on how this album was made. I mean, we'll never know, but like, it's just that fucking good.
Yeah,
like,
it's incredible, and it makes me excited for what Kanye is going to come out with. I don't think it'll be this good, but
we'll see.
On that note,
if it is,
breaking news. Is starting to leak that tomorrow, May 31st, in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Kanye is having an album drop party.
Ooh, shit.
And there are a lot of Instagram celebrities that are posting about being in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Chris Rock is in Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
If y'all remember, a couple weeks ago, Kanye tweeted a bunch of shit out like, hey, I got album coming, June 1st.
Right.
Pusha T's coming May 25th, blah, blah, blah. Pusha T was on time.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
If I recall, you said there's no way Kanye would be on time.
I still stand by that statement. I highly doubt an album comes out on Friday, but we will see. I'd put money on it.
I mean, if they're having a listening party on Thursday.
That's true.
And knowing Kanye, he wouldn't let people listen to a finished product before he thought it was finished.
Yeah, but didn't he do that with Life of Pablo and then win in the studio?
And then
was
a
like,
fixed Wolves?
No. Like we gotta fix this shit.
No one ever really
and
cared
just
a lot about
kept
that album.
Cutting shit. I don't know.
I don't either.
It's whatever. But any parting words for Mr. Pusha T? Pusher T? That's his name, right?
Pusher.
Yeah,
with
his
hardy
first name
R.
is Pusher.
Oh, God.
Hardy R.
Mr. T is what they call him. That's what his wife calls him.
This is great.
His fiance.
This is wonderful.
This is why it's not just a hip hop podcast.
Exactly.
The new release from Mr. T.
My favorite tracks are Games We Play, Hard Piano, and Come Back Baby. But really, I mean, the entire album's good. So
Yes.
it's hard to.
I mean,
pick
it's only
favorites.
20 minutes. So if you haven't listened to it yet, if you don't have 20 minutes, I'd fucking stop listening to music. What are you doing?
I mean, it's hard. It sounds like A$AP Rocky.
I added these as like generic
clips.
Like,
I mean, obviously, because
These are
drug
hip-hop
rap,
smooth.
familiar stuff that does similar music. So
I have a closing thought.
sure,
Fuck Drake.
He's not wrong.
that's fair.
I
That's
agree.
fair. If you're curious about the singles and albums we talked about today, there'll be a playlist up on the site. That's bliss.haus, bliss.house, containing all the singles and the best tracks from this week's albums. Check us out on Spotify. Cherry on Top post, which discusses our favorite music from last month, will be going up this weekend. It's very exciting. A lot of good stuff. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check us out on iTunes and leave it a good review. Only good reviews. Podcast is on Google Play, but not for long. It's going to YouTube or whatever the hell's going on.
R.I.P.
Yeah, Rick, Google Play. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter at Blisspoint Pod. Check us out on YouTube. We already mentioned that. Check us out on Stitcher or your favorite podcast app. And one last time, for all your favorite content and delicious music playlists and everything, visit bliss.house. That's bliss.haus. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Thanks
Don't
for
crack
having
a
me.
beer. Jordan will put you on blast.